Hello everyone, how y'all doing? So I'm recording this video sort of as like a follow-up to the most recent video I made where I talked about PlayStation's new DRM in comparison to Xbox One's original DRM. And, generally speaking, not that I got like a huge negative response from it, like for the most part it's whatever. It's not that different from what I usually get from videos that are somewhat related to this topic. But, I did get the typical responses that I would usually expect. Like there was this one guy who was obviously a PC fanboy, who started making arguments for, like, I think he was genuinely upset by the fact that I called out every single player in every single platform. Like, I was saying, I don't want to bicker with any fanboy from any platform. And he was mad about the fact that I grouped PC with other platforms, which I'm honest, to be honest with you, I just find it to be hilarious. Like the fact that he got fixated on that one part, and then started making arguments for why PC is a better platform. Oh, don't group us with them. And I'm just like, dude, you sound like a fanboy. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, I'm a PC gamer, dude. I don't behave like that. I don't really care. So just the typical fanboy comments. But then I also got a couple of comments from people that, I've gotten similar comments in the past. These kinds of people, they are people that I would describe as the "you're not mad enough" folk. It's basically the people that they expect me to, I think they essentially expect me to just yell at Sony, like just be very like angry, and they want me to essentially lift a pitchfork and like rally with them as we continuously try to make Sony accountable for the terrible decisions. Like they kind of want me to like be that crowd, because they want me to be upset about this. They want me to, call out the big evil corporation. And I'm just like, on one hand, I appreciate the fact that there even is a group of people that feel compelled to do that. At the same time, I'm just going to tell you right now, like, you really shouldn't be expect me to behave that way with every single controversy, because at the fact of the matter is, my position on certain controversies will often be nuanced. Because to kind of explain you what I mean by that is, I don't mind calling out corporations. I don't mind being angry at corporations. I don't mind being angry at certain decisions. I just feel like I need to be angry for the right reasons. So, for example, in this case in specific with this supposedly new PlayStation DRM, I do think that there is a greater discussion to be had regarding the concept of buying digital games and how this can impact people's ability to play them. But I don't necessarily care about the current discussion being had, because I don't actually think this new DRM matters. So, as an example, the whole C-bomb, the whole CMOS battery thing, I genuinely don't think it matters. I really don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if I'm not, like, really upset. Like, the original CMOS battery issue was genuinely a problem, because this was affecting both digital and physical copies. It wasn't really something that you could fix. Like, I'm fairly certain that even if you try to replace the CMOS battery, it still wouldn't be able to properly verify the trophy data, which would prevent you from playing the game. Like, this was genuinely a problem. And you know what? They fixed that problem. This new issue, it's just, I'm sorry, I just can't think of a scenario where you not having a working CMOS battery is actually going to affect you. Because all of the tests that people have done have essentially been people that bought a game, removed the CMOS battery, disconnected themselves from the internet, and then try accessing that same game that they bought only a few minutes ago. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, if you were able to buy the game in the first place, that means you have connection to the internet. You can't just say, oh, what if the servers get shut down? It's like, you literally bought it today. What do you mean if the servers get shut down? The servers are clearly up. And by the time the servers do get shut down, the CMOS battery issue is not going to really be relevant, because by that point, the license is going to be perpetual. So you're not even going to need to verify the date and time. This is what I mean when I say it doesn't matter. Like, it only really matters within the first 14 days. And honestly, like, yes, I get it. Like, I'm not usually the type of person who says everyone has the internet, but in this case, it's kind of a fair point. Like, again, you bought the game, so you do have the internet. So this isn't a problem to you. it like I don't know, like unless you're gonna like it's like that example I gave a couple of videos ago. Like I guess if you have like an outage, like an internet outage that lasts more than 30 days that affected both your home Wi-Fi or and even your phone, like maybe your mobile provider, or maybe you went on a vacation on the fucking mountains or something like that and you don't have access to the internet for like more than 30 days, then sure, I guess you will be affected by it, but it's like that's not most people. Like I'm sorry, dude. Like I'm sorry if I don't see that as a problem. I just don't. I don't see it as an issue. And again, like I would understand if it was a periodic 30-day validation period, but it's not. Like we've already seen people test this. Like ever since I uploaded those videos, there've been more and more people that have been able to verify that yeah, after 14 days, you don't really need to do the 30-day validation thing. So it's clearly just trying to target people that are abusing the refund thing. And like, yeah, like if it's just a 14-day detention period, then I don't really think it matters all that much. This is what I mean when I say that, like, yeah, I want to be angry for the right reasons. This is not to me at least, it doesn't matter. And yes, I do think it's silly to compare this to the original Xbox One's DRM because, like, dude, that DRM was like it had a 24-hour validation period, which was periodic. Like that was a real 24-hour periodic check. Like that was actually real that you had to do. And there was also the fact that this was affecting both digital and physical games. The fact that certain publishers may choose to not allow you to resell games. Like you're telling me that this is comparable to what we're seeing right now? I'm sorry, dude. Like it's silly. Like it's just a silly thing. This is what I mean when I say I have to be angry for the right reasons. And like I'm not just going to be blindly angry at a corporation just because the public decides to be mad at something. It's just not how it is. Now, of course, I do think that DRM is a problem regardless. I do think that any type of DRM is going to cause some inconvenience in some way or another. And that I do agree. And that's why, the mentality that I've always had is, if you're going to buy commercial products, video games, film, music, or whatnot, I think you will have to deal with some DRM in some way or another. It's really just a matter of selecting which DRM would you rather put up with. And for example, in my case, technically speaking, physical media does have some degree of DRM because they do have encryption in some way or another. There's also the fact that discs tend to be read-only. And to me, though, this level of DRM, I can somewhat compromise. Some people may also argue that like they're able to put up with Steam's DRM because they don't think it's as invasive. And for me personally, I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And to me, one type of DRM that I tend to not really accept is ones that tend to have very strong dependencies towards the internet. And that I do agree. I think that is a problem. And yeah, I would argue that this newly implemented DRM, it does create further online dependencies. And I do think that's a problem. But at the same time, I would also say that like this would have been a problem regardless if this DRM existed or not. It's like, I think that buying digital games in general is a problem. And I don't do that because yes, I do know that when you buy games on the PlayStation Store, in theory, they do give you a perpetual license, but at the end of the day, that perpetual license, there are ways that you could end up in a situation where you do have to verify that you have the license to play that game. This could be situations where, for example, your system gets, the software gets corrupted in some way or another. Like, let's say you have to like rebuild the database. Let's say you have to reset the console, do a factory reset, restore it to factory settings. Let's say you have to replace the hardware. Let's say you have to replace the entire console. Like something gets faulty in the process. Like something weird happens. Something ends up triggering the console to have you re-verify they have the license to play those games. Like it's basically the whole feature of restore licenses that the PlayStation 4 and 5 has. These kind of situations, they can happen. And personally speaking, I do think that if the servers get shut down, this would have been a problem regardless if this DRM existed. And I want people to talk about that because that to me is a much bigger issue than this new DRM. And I have been talking about this thing for years. I've been telling people don't buy digital games because you're always going to have some degree of dependency towards the internet. Because even if you can play now, in the future when the servers get shut down and you end up in a situation where you have to re-verify the licenses, you may not be able to do that if the servers are shut down. That to me is a discussion that we should be having. This new DRM, I don't care because it doesn't matter. It's really not going to change the way people use their console, how they manage their library. It's not going to matter. But the concept of buying digital games, that to me, I would say, yes, this definitely does matter. And I want people to talk about that. And that's one of the main reasons for why I even brought up Xbox One's original DRM. Because in that video, I tried to make the argument that that vision that Xbox had back in 2012, it's already a reality. Like, so many people are buying games digitally. And guess what? With digital games, you have online dependencies. You can't resell your games. This is already a reality. And some consoles are actually planning to be digital only. Don Matrick achieved his dream with the Xbox One. It's already a reality, in some ways even worse. I think that that's a much bigger battle that we should be fighting, and that's a battle that I think both Sony and Xbox, even Nintendo, I guess you could also say Steam, but honestly PC, the PC platform is a bit more nuanced. But yes, I do think that when it comes to PlayStation and Xbox, I do think that they're trying to control your library of games by making you buy on the PlayStation Store or Microsoft Store, and I think that's a problem. I think we should call them out. But at the end of the day, I just feel like in the end, I will tell people that you should buy physical media, and I'm probably going to get a response from people saying, oh, it doesn't matter if you buy physical media. You don't own those anyway. You're just paying for a license to play the game. Those physical media doesn't even have the full game anymore. It just only has a key for you to download the game, so it doesn't matter. It's like, if I'm going to get these kinds of responses, then at some point, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to be like, dude, you're going to figure out, like, 20-30 years from now, when I have my collection of physical media and you have your collection of digital games that you bought on the PlayStation Store, we're going to see who's going to be the last person laughing. Because, like, what else do you want me to say? It's like, if this is the mentality that people are going to have, it's like, what do you expect from me? If people are just going to continue to buy games on the PlayStation Store anyway because they just want to buy games digitally, because everything is digital is the future, if this is the mentality that people are going to have, then what do you expect from me? Like, I'm trying my best, but like, this is how people think. And I will continue to advocate for people to buy physical media. But again, like, at the end of the day, I want to make people refocus on what war they should fight for, like what war we should fight for. And I think the Stop Killing Games thing is also a very important war, because I think that what they're trying to achieve is something that can actually allow us to not even really have this constant feud between digital versus physical. Because I think they're trying to make a point that I personally agree, which is, regardless if you buy something physically or digitally, you should be able to own it. I agree. And I like that war. I will always support Stop Killing Games. I think they're doing something wonderful. And I'm going to be in favor of them. And I think you should also be in favor of them. But in the meantime, as long as publishers, I guess, can get away with just pulling the rug pull and just completely yank your library of games, like, why would you still want to buy digital games? Because this is going to be a problem. Again, this new DRM doesn't change anything. This would have become a problem regardless. So yeah, this is why sometimes you might get the impression that I'm not angry enough. Oh, I'm just doing damage control. Oh, stop defending Sony. It's like, I'm not defending Sony. Brother, I've been on a war for years about this issue. If you haven't been paying attention, that's fine. But trust me, bro, I've been on a war about online DRM for years. This to me is nothing. This is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. There is a much bigger war that I've been fighting for ages. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I wanted to share, because, like, honestly, like, at some point, it just kind of gets very silly when I get people that I feel like they're expecting me to get, like, just angry for no reason. I'm just like, dude, I want to be angry for the right reasons. But anyway, that's all I want to share.